Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is like actually my fourth, no, my third attempt to try to make this video. Something keeps happening. I don't know if it's updated Flash software or something that I need to install because I'll get halfway through the video and and then it'll freeze up on me, or I'll get a message that I need to install latest Flash software. So anyway, I'm gonna try to make this video a little short, get through it, and because I have things that I need to do today. But anyway, now it's 11:03. I woke up about 10:15 and felt I felt fine actually, except for my headache, which by now my headache is gone, so that's good. Um, and then I took my half a milligram of Klonopin at about 10:30 or something. So it was an hour and a half later than I normally do. Anyway, I'm gonna make this video a lot shorter than I did the other ones that I'm gonna try. Again, I woke up from having like two or three different nightmares, and I'm gonna try to retell them the best I can. Um, they don't really make a lot of sense, but within the dream itself, it was scary. Um, I dreamt that I was living across the street from a convenience store in one of the dreams, and I was witnessing a robbery. So naturally, I dial 911, and I don't get the police, but I actually get the convenience store itself, and the lady that's being robbed picks up the phone. And by this time, I think the robber had left, and I remember this woman being really mad, and she the mad that I was calling her, and I was kind of inconveniencing her because she had just been robbed, and she asked me, well, why didn't you call the police? And I explained to her that I did try to call 911, and I got her instead. And then she seemed happy about my attempt to try to help her, and so she said that after work she would come over to my house and bring me some free beer. And I was trying to tell her that I don't drink beer, but I kind of felt like within the dream it would be disrespectful not to at least take it. So anyway, she comes over to my house and brings the beer, and then we end up watching a movie. And I have roommates there, and I guess they're kind of watching the movie too. And I don't even remember what the movie was about, or any much of anything else from the dream, to be honest. But um, the only point of me really even telling the dream is just so I'll have it recorded, and I can go back and look at it and see, try to make some sense of it later. But like I said in some other videos, I've had problems remembering my dreams over the last few years. I didn't really think about it until maybe a year ago, and I realized that I'm not dreaming anymore, or at least I'm not remembering my dreams, because forever since I was a little kid, I can remember having vivid dreams. Lots of times they were nightmares, but I would always remember them. Um, a second dream I had was I was I was talking to a guy that I used to work with at my last job, a really smart guy. And my last job was basically I worked at a telemarketing firm, and what we do all day is we make phone calls to different potential clients and try to set up meetings with, for example, a Hewlett Packard sales rep so they could buy products that they need. For example, I may call a school and talk to their superintendent, or the principal, or whoever was in charge of purchasing or making final decisions on purchasing technology. And a big deal about this place, or a big rule, is like you weren't really allowed to talk to your neighbor, and it made sense because you're being paid to make phone calls or take phone calls. And anyway, in my dream, I had this guy that I was working with, and like I said, I remember him being very intelligent in real life and even in my dream. And he was looking up, like, we had some kind of handbook that was given to us, not in real life, but in the dream, but a handbook that basically explained the rules of the workplace, and one of them was no talking or something. And this guy was like breaking down the rule into like really small parts, and just like dissecting everything about it, and somehow trying to find a way of where the rule didn't make any sense and where we should be able to talk and stuff like that. And anyway, and like I said, I know that doesn't, the dream itself doesn't really make a lot of sense, like the other one I just told, but I'm basically telling it so I have a recording of it. Um, my third dream I had was, I seem to remember a little bit better, and I would consider it more of a nightmare. It may not sound like one as I tell it, but trust me, it kind of was. When I was growing up, I lived in Louisiana, and the part of Louisiana I lived in was this really small town called Sulphur, Louisiana. And if you look at it on a map, it's basically in the southwest corner of Louisiana, next to not a large city, but somewhat large town called Lake Charles. And anyway, what separated where I lived from, I guess you could say, alligators, which what this stream was about, was an Interstate 10, and sometimes when it would rain really hard, alligators would try to crawl across or swim across the interstate because they probably didn't realize that they were actually swimming across the interstate. They probably thought they were still in the bayou, which was, I would say, maybe 10 miles from my house. Another thing that we had, like within the city itself, were these man-made concrete water drains. They looked like a river basically, except it was like a canal, but it was man-made, and the purpose of it was to drain the water when it would rain, because I mean it rained a lot, and it was easy to flood because if I'm not mistaken, where I lived in Louisiana was maybe 5 or 6 feet above sea level, maybe even less. I'd have to look it up on a map, but it wasn't very much high above the sea level. And so in the dream I had, I was in charge of, me and this other group of people. We were in charge of capturing these alligators that got across the interstate and then got into this canal, and and then I guess we were supposed to bring them back to the wild or the bayou, wherever they came from. And I remember that there was this one alligator that wasn't taking the bait, wasn't biting, so to speak, and was trying to bite us. It wasn't trying to bite the whatever food we had out for it to lure it into this cage. And for me, that dream was really scary because in real life, I've had some encounters with alligators, and alligators just in general scare me. I think they're just I think they're scary to me. But that was pretty much the gist of that third dream I had. And I guess the whole point of me really saying it is one, for a recording of these dreams, and maybe I can look back on them and see if they make any sense. You know, I don't know. And then two, just ask the question of anybody that's watching this: did you, if you were ever going through benzo withdrawals or tapering off of the benzos, did you have dreams, and also did you remember them? Did you have dreams before you started taking the medication, and then did the dreams sort of cease, or you forgot to, you couldn't remember them, and then after you started tapering, did your remembering of the dreams come back? I'm just curious if anybody else is experiencing that, or experienced that like I am over the past few days. But anyway, I want to go to church, and like I said, this is my third attempt at making this video, and if it doesn't work, I'm just gonna make one when I get back, and forget about this video because I've got to get ready. It's at 11:15 right now, and I have to leave in about 30 minutes to be there on time. And anyway, like I said, I always say any advice or prayers are always welcomed, and especially, but I'm especially about the dreams itself. Did you have dreams while you were tapering off, and could you remember them? And did you used to have dreams before you started taking the medication, the benzos in particular? And then while you were heavily on the medicine, did you forget your dreams or not dream at all? But anyway, I'm just curious about that, if anybody's experienced that. Like I said, I got to end this video. I got to get ready, and I will talk to everybody later. You take care.